non-Malay, but if you accept the language, speak the language, have the culture, and is a Muslim, then you are a Malay. It follows that if people of Chinese origin or Indian origin were to accept this, they would become Malays. Legally, they would become Malays, but they choose not to accept. As we know, many Indians who are Muslims who came here married Malays. And today you can't distinguish them. You cannot distinguish them from the Malays. Of course, some people will say, who are you to speak? You also have Indian blood. I admit I have Indian blood. But to find the people who are pure Malays is very difficult now, because Malaysia is at the crossroads between East and West. Since ancient time, traders come and pass Malaysia on their way to trade with each other. They came from India, Arabia, and they came from China, and they pass the Straits of Malacca, pass next to the peninsula, Malay Peninsula, and because of the winds, the monsoons, they have to stop in Malaysia to wait for the winds to change. And when they stop in Malaysia, they find life quite good, and some of them decided to settle down in Malaysia, and many of them married Malays and became Malays in terms of their language, their culture, and their religion. That is why today we find most Malays are mixed, but that does not mean they are not indigenous. Anybody who wishes to be a Malay can literally change himself merely by adopting Malay as their home language and practicing Malay customs and traditions, as well as becoming a Muslim. But the line is drawn between the religion of the Malays and the religion of the others, which makes it difficult for them to convert and become Malays. In any case, they do not wish to convert. They want to retain their identity. They want to remain as Chinese, they want to remain as Indians, they want to have Chinese language schools and Tamil language schools, they want to have their own culture, and in some cases, unfortunately, they want to stay apart from the Malays. That makes it very difficult for us to unite and integrate them, as can easily happen in a single ethnic country. In a multi-ethnic country, if the different ethnic group insists on their original identification, then of course we cannot have just one national identity. It will have to be multiple national identity. Now, as I said at the beginning, the Malays thought that on achieving independence, they would be able to assimilate all the non-Malays. But this has not happened and doesn't look as if it's going to happen. People want to remain separate. This is their wish. We can, of course, try to use force, but that is not going to be good for this country, or for any country when you use force. If people want to retain their identity, they should be allowed to retain their identity. But nevertheless, they can still be loyal to the country. They can still be Malaysians. And that is why our national identity is rather diverse, not one single national identity. Maybe in the distant future, there will be a single national identity. But at the moment, we are still separated. We still speak different languages at home. We still practice different cultures. And we belong to different faiths, different religions. But we must not allow these differences to prevent us from identifying ourselves with the country in which we live. And the country in which we live is, of course, Malaysia. And our identity, our national identity is that of a Malaysian. We are all Malaysians, whether we speak Chinese or Indian or Malay or Kadazan or Iban or whatever. We are all Malaysians. A strange thing has happened because I notice when in this country the fact of being different is always played up. People talk about Chinese and Indians and Malays. But when they go out of the country and they meet people, whether they be Chinese, Indians or Malays, and they are asked by people, who are you? Their answer is, not I am a Chinese, not I am an Indian, not I am a Malay, but I am a Malaysian. So there is clearly a feeling that they belong to this country. It doesn't matter that they have different cultures and different languages, but they feel they belong to this country, they are loyal to this country, they feel they are Malaysian. To the rest of the world, they are Malaysians. It is only when they come back to the country that they become conscious of the differences between the races. That is about how much that we can achieve in this country, this multiracial country. We can try, of course, to force or to recognize only the Malay-speaking, culturally Malay Muslims are Malaysians, but that is not going to work. The fact is that this country is peopled by peoples of different races, and each one of them have played a role in the development of this country, have contributed towards Malaysia's progress and development. We cannot imagine a Malaysia that is as prosperous as it is now, that is as developed as it is now, without the Chinese entrepreneurs and business people building up the economy, or the contribution by the Indians, mostly lawyers of course, but in other fields also, Indian professionals contribute towards the development of this country. And the Malays are the principal administrators of this country. We may not agree, or we may think that the contribution of each is not the same.